Hi, it's the first snow of the season and I'm so excited about it. We're gonna go outside and shovel in just a minute, but before we do, I wanna put together a good tea that is anti-inflammatory, especially because Rin's shoulder has been bothering him lately. He pulled a muscle climbing a tree and it's fine, it's not injured, it's just kind of irritating. And if we're gonna go out and shovel, then I'm thinking, that might sort of be uncomfortable for him. So I wanna get a tea made before we go out that'll be ready when we come back in, that'll really help support the anti-inflammatory process so that everything heals up really nicely and the shoveling doesn't interrupt the recovery process. So let me show you what I have in mind. So here we have this is actually not in any particular order. We have some cinnamon, and cinnamon is really tasty and also shockingly anti-inflammatory. You would really be surprised because you just think that cinnamon is good on apple pie, right? But in fact, cinnamon is really strongly anti-inflammatory. So I'm gonna put a spoonful in, and that's probably gonna be enough. Another really anti-inflammatory herb that might surprise you is ginger. And ginger is one of my favorite anti-inflammatory herbs. A lot of people talk about turmeric for anti-inflammatory action, but ginger is, I think, even more potent, and it is more of a systemic anti-inflammatory. Turmeric is amazing in the digestive tract, but it's hard to get it through into the whole body. Ginger, on the other hand, wants to jump out into your whole body. So I really love ginger for that. Then we're going to add some Solomon seal. And Solomon seal is really particularly lovely for joint injuries or connective tissue pain. It just really helps to keep everything lubricated and just really healing up nicely. This is lovely support for arthritis, for any kind of sports injury. It's just beautiful. All right, and then we're gonna put in some cat's claw, which is one of my new favorite herbs. This is an herb that I'm working with really intensively right now, and it's another really amazing anti-inflammatory herb, really helpful for joint problems, really helpful for connective tissue issues. And all of these herbs have a lovely flavor. And hold on, the one thing about cat's claw is that it is a little hard to get out of the jar because it's all, can you see, it's all shaved up in there and it kind of clings together. So it's kind of impossible to do with a spoon. You sort of need to get your fingers in there, or chopsticks, that would work too. All right, so all of these have a really pleasant flavor. Of course, the cinnamon and ginger. And there's one other thing I'm gonna add, and this might surprise you. I'm going to put in some seaweed, and this is unprocessed nori, and there's little white bits there. That's not mold, that's salt, actually. And unprocessed nori is really just so supportive for any kind of connective tissue issues. It doesn't have to be nori though. It's hard to get your hands on unprocessed nori. So if you can't find it, then you can, like, kelp is totally appropriate. Alaria is really good. And just a couple pieces. We don't need too much, but a little bit. And you might be thinking, Katya, this tea it went from being delicious to disgusting. No, it's actually gonna be fine because the flavors of the cinnamon and the ginger are really strong, and they're gonna completely overpower the seaweed flavor. So that's not gonna be a problem at all. Now, you can see I've put this all into my Airpot. And that's important because these are all roots and they really do want to spend a long time in the hot water to be their most potent. So either you can simmer this for 20 or 30 minutes and then just ladle it out of a pot all day, or you can put it into something like this where it's going to stay very hot all day so that these herbs are in contact with the hot water for a longer period of time. And the wonderful thing about roots is we can double brew this. So after we drank it all, we can pour more water in there and get a second run from these roots. And that's a really good way to make sure that we are sort of taking everything for the herbs that we've used, we're getting everything out of them that we can so that we don't need to use as much plant matter. And that's particularly important because Solomon seal is not endangered, but in fact, it's super easy to grow, to cultivate, but in the wild, it's having a hard time. So I like to make sure that I always double brew my Solomon seal. But that's it. I'm just going to fill this up with boiling water, and I have a wonderful anti-inflammatory blend that is going to be helpful for both of us when we come in from shoveling.